Benvenuto. Welcome to Cherry Hill Home Cooking. My name is Mark. Today we're going to make a strawberry bundt cake with strawberry glaze. We haven't done a lot of sweet stuff, and I was just kind of in a sweet mood, and I saw these nice strawberries at the store, so I decided that's what we'd make today. Plus, this is a wonderful cake with the upcoming Easter holiday. It's colorful, it's pretty, it's pink. So if you're having guests or you're going someplace, it's a great dessert to bring along with you. All right, so this is the easiest cake recipe. This cake recipe is all over the place. I can't believe if you haven't seen it. Well, not that I can't believe, because I would believe you, but it's a very common cake recipe. And the best part is it starts out with a boxed white cake mix. Now, you can use whatever your favorite mix you have, or your favorite brand. I believe it's a 15-ounce box cake mix. Okay, so just one box. But the thing is, you're not going to follow the directions on the box, because we're going to doctor it up a bit and make it our own. All right, so we need one box of white cake mix. You're going to need an additional 3 tablespoons of all-purpose flour, and then you need one box, which I believe is a 3-ounce of just Jello, strawberry Jello. All right, we need 3 eggs at room temperature, ideally. We're going to need some vegetable oil. Now, I'm going to use buttermilk. I've made this recipe using regular milk and water. In my opinion, it comes out better, more tasty. That if you use milk, that little bit of extra fat just makes the cake taste better. But you can use water, and probably no one had ever noticed the difference. I probably wouldn't even notice the difference other than I made it and I know what I put in it. But I'm going to use buttermilk today because the last recipe we made, I needed, I think, a half a cup or a cup of buttermilk, and of course you can't buy buttermilk in a small container. But you can also, this recipe, if I remember, the original recipe that I have written down called for buttermilk. I think the buttermilk will give it a little bit of extra tang anyway. All right, you're going to need some good vanilla extract. Okay, and the next thing we're going to need is macerated strawberries. Okay, so you can do this basically any fruit just by masquerading the, no, that's not masquerading like a party. Using this method, generally you use, excuse me, it's 1 cup of fruit. So this can be any kind of berry, even peaches work really well with this. It's generally 1 cup of fruit to 2 tablespoons of sugar. Now, you could do that with blackberries, strawberries, anything. So you need a little bit of water or liquid and 2 tablespoons per cup of fruit. Now, what would you use that for? If you macerate any fruit, blackberries, raspberries, strawberries, peaches, it makes an awesome topping for ice cream or French toast or pancakes, anything like that. Now, I'm using a little bit different of ratios in this because I got a 16-ounce, get in the supermarket, plastic container of strawberries. All right, so simple. So I've already done these already. All right, we're gonna mash these, but I find it works out a little bit better if you kind of just, because these have been washed, rinsed off really well. I didn't dry them because we do need that little bit of water in there anyway. And then I just find if you cut them up like that in little pieces, it helps the process along. And of course, if you've got a strawberry that is maybe not all the way nice and strawberried all the way up to the top, if you want to cut any of that white part off, that's up to you. I find it might be a little bit bitter. Okay, so that's all there is to it. Now, you don't necessarily have to mash them up any more than this. I am going to because I like it to be, I find those chunks are a little bit big for my taste. Now, we've got a half a cup of sugar. And you need a splash of liquid. And you can certainly use water, but I'm using vodka. It's just a small amount. It will liven things up a bit. And then you just want to give that a good mix up, I should say. So when you macerate the fruit, the sugar, that little bit of moisture and the sugar is going to bring out the natural juices of your fruit. And it's going to soften it a bit and make a nice syrup. All right, so the reason we started this, before we get into the part of making our batter, is we're going to let that sit for about 30 minutes at least. Cover it with saran wrap. You certainly could do this overnight if you wanted to use this for pancakes or something in the morning. I'd put it in the refrigerator, cover it with some saran wrap. I'm going to leave my spoon in there because we're going to need that. And set it aside for about 30 minutes. Okay? I'm going to organize all of this and we'll get on with our cake batter. See you in a bit. Okay, before we get on to getting our batter all mixed together, just wanted to finish up out with our strawberries. All right, so these have sat for about 30 minutes. Look at all that nice juice the strawberries and the sugar and the little bit of vodka have made. All right, so we're going to mash these up a bit. I want to get them, you don't have to get it doesn't have to be a puree. It can, if you want it to be, but at least we want to get most of the big chunks broken down a bit. You certainly could put this in the blender. I don't like the way that is doing that. We're going to break for a moment, and I'm going to come back with a better tool. See you in a minute. I didn't really take into account how long that was going to take me to do, and obviously you don't want to sit and watch me do that. So we got our good old immersion blender. And again, like I said, I'm not going to necessarily puree it. I'm going to leave a few little chunks here and there. And there we go. All right, so that's done for the most part. We're going to need that in a few minutes. We'll put this here and this over here. And get that out of the way. Okay, so in our mixing bowl, of course you can do this by hand. You can do this with a hand mixer. I'm going to have to use the stand mixer because I've got it. I've got my 1 box of white cake mix, store-bought, the envelope 3-ounce package of strawberry gelatin, and my additional 3 tablespoons of all-purpose flour. And you're going to use the beater attachment, not the whisk attachment, if you are. I've done that hundreds and hundreds of times in the last 30 years. It never gives me a problem. All right, so. Oh, actually, don't forget, guys. So we need a Bundt pan, okay? Now, this is a brand new Bundt pan. I couldn't find my Bundt pan. I used to have a really, really nice Bundt pan with the curved sides. The only other one I've got is a kind of rounded, but it makes a box size, and it's not going to drizzle down the way that I want it. So I needed to get one anyway. But anyway, this happens to be a non-stick one. I've never used this. I'm not going to 100% trust the non-stick, so we're going to spray it with some baking spray pretty liberally. That smells delicious. Every time I use it, I go, that smells so good. All right, so we're going to give our dry ingredients just a little, not necessarily, but just a little go around. Let everything get all nice and mixed together. All right, so firm with our macerated. So we've got all our dry ingredients in. So we're going to need a half a cup of our macerated strawberries with the liquid and everything, of course. We need our oil. Now let's start that out slow. And then we need 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. Put this aside. We're going to need that for later. Now we are going to make a glaze, but we're going to do our glaze while our cake is baking. Got to get our milk or water. Like I said, I happen to be using buttermilk. Put that up a little bit. And then we'll add our eggs. One at a time, if you can. I knew that was going to happen. And the reason you kind of add those things in slowly, or the egg one at a time, of course, you're giving the liquids time to absorb the flour and get everything all mixed in. Make sure all your flour molecules, kernels, whatever they're called, gets mixed nicely. Beater's in the wrong place, so I'm going to dump them both in there. And let's put it on low again to get it mixed in together. Once your egg yolk breaks, it will. Alright, so you can see that all the yolks are broken. It's kind of incorporated, so I'm going to turn it up probably. It's hard to tell on this mixer what speed you are because it's, the way that it's made. You can put it in infinite speeds. Well, probably not infinite, but a lot. If you've got a hand mixer, I'd say put it on medium. And we're going to let that go for about a minute. We've got our oven preheated to 350. The rack is in the middle. What do I do with my spatula? What do I put it in there for? I gotta get another one. pretty good. I don't think anything. All right. Very good. Now this is might look a little bit wetter than, say, a regular cake mix. This is a very moist cake, and it's also a dense cake. So. Get it in our pan. Ooh, it smells delicious. Can you smell it? Yeah. It smells like strawberries. You guys know me, I always like to get as much as I can out. But of course, this is not the spatula I like to do this with, because I threw the other one in the sink. Okay, but that should be good. Let's give it a little twirl, make sure it's even out. Little tappy tap. Make sure you got all your bubbles out. I just wonder if you can see, but let's see if you can get, the bubbles do come up to the top. I mean, there were some bubbles that are in there. See, they broke. All right, so let's get this in the oven. So we got our oven at 350. This is going to take between 35 and 40 minutes. I'm going to check it at 35. If it doesn't come out clean with a toothpick, we'll put it back in for a few more minutes. Okay, Google, set a timer for 35 minutes.
All right, 35 minutes. And that's starting now.
All right, we'll see you in 35 minutes. Okay, we're back. And the cake's not done. It's because I forgot we got to go over our glaze. All right, so we're going to make a strawberry glaze drizzle. We're going to drizzle it over our cake once it's cooled. I was going to say drizzle it beautifully over our cake, but I never have luck with that. But anyway, it'll taste good. All right, so we need 2 tablespoons of salted butter. You can use unsalted, but you need a little bit of salt to bring out the sweetness. We're going to need some confectionery sugar. You're probably going to need about, in total, 1.5 cups. It depends. Depends upon you know, how watery or liquidy your strawberries are, your macerated strawberries. But anyway, I like to do this while the cake is cooking, because I do like it to sit for a little while, because as it sits, it's going to thicken and kind of reach the consistency. It's going to end up being on the cake, and that way I know if I want to thin it out a little bit more or thicken it up. But anyway, so then we need some vanilla, and we need some almond. All right, so we're going to do 1 teaspoon of vanilla. And, of course, I just got that a mess, but. And we're going to need about 1/2 teaspoon of almond extract. Almond extract can be very potent. So these smell so good. Let's start out with about 1/2. I think that's good. That's how I like it. You might want to put a little bit less. You can omit it. You can use some other type of extract. You could use coconut. You could use some lemon, whatever you like. All right. And then we need about 2 tablespoons of our macerated strawberries. I'm going to start out with 2 anyway. And we'll mix them together. And then we're going to start to add in our sugar. If you want, you can double this if you want, and you would, really kind of be able to cover the cake almost totally. And it's really just a matter of adding in your powdered sugar till you get it to the consistency that you want. It's going to start out a little bit lumpy, but the more you stir it, it's all going to start to smooth out. So I'm at probably about a half a cup of sugar, maybe a little bit less. Go ahead and put another fourth of a cup in. And it also depends upon if you want, you could do it as a really thick glaze. And yeah, I hate powdered sugar and flour. That's why I think I don't bake as much as I cook, because
More gentle.
oh, for God's sakes. You can see it's turning that nice kind of pinky color. All right, so we're going to do one more fourth of a cup. So that's going to bring us just to about a cup that we've put in. Maybe a little bit more. It's probably a little bit more than a cup because I didn't measure those exactly, but usually it takes about a cup and a half. And that's almost exactly how I like it. Like I said, the more you stir, it looks like it's going to be lumpy, but once you get stirring it, all those lumps dissolve in. All right, so that's just about the consistency I like it. It will thicken up a little bit as we let it sit, but that way, hopefully, it should run nicely over the cake. Let's see how it tastes. Like strawberries and sugar. All right, now we'll be back to test our cake in about 23 minutes. If it's done, we'll let it cool a bit. Then we'll put it on the platter, bring it to room temperature, and we will frost. But we'll talk about that when we come back. See you in a bit. Okay, it's been just about 35 minutes. Let's give our cakey a little testy. That looks pretty good to me. Let's see. Yep, and our toothpick has come out clean. Yeah, you know what? That part's not quite clean. So I think I will put it in for another 3 minutes. All right, see you in a minute. 3 minutes exactly. All right, I gave it another 3 minutes. It should be perfect. We're going to call it done because we don't want to leave it in there too much longer. It starts to dry out, but let's give it a check. We'll check on that side. Very nice. And we'll check there. Clean. Awesome. Okay, now the hard part really comes because the house smells absolutely delicious. It smells like strawberries. Almost smells like strawberry Pop-Tarts to me. But anyway, that has got to... Oh, actually, we're going to let this cool off on the wire rack for about 10 minutes. You got to be careful with the Bundt cake. You don't want to leave it in there much longer than 10 minutes. So we'll be back in 10 minutes. We'll turn out the cake. Hopefully it will come out. All right? Okay, the moment of truth. Will it come out? So I'm gonna just I'm gonna put it on this platter because this is the platter I'm going to use to decorate, display it with. It came out. Yay. Well, hopefully it came out in one piece. Slippery. There we go. Beautiful. Awesome. All right, I have to say I like that pan. Okay, so we're going to let that cool to room temperature, and then we'll come back. We'll put our icing or our glaze on it, and then we're going to eat a piece. See you in a little while. Okay, our cake is cooled. We got our glaze all done. That's pretty good. I think that consistency is going to be okay. We'll see as we're glazing it a bit more. I'm sure 99% of you watching this video does this much better than I do. I don't know what it is about putting frosting on a cake in me. But so I'm just gonna let it do its thing. Trying to get it to at least go over a little on each edge. At least it's pretty color. Because if it was a little thinner, it might drip a little bit better, but let's get around it once.
Maybe go with a pastry bag too.
You could, yeah. It's not necessarily, that it's a frosting, it's a glaze, it's a drizzle. Almost done. I'm going to use up the rest of this glaze. And just give it a couple more go-arounds. The more you put on it, the nicer it looks. That doesn't look too bad.
Nope, looks pretty good.
Although using all of this, it's almost turning out to be more of a frosting than. But I think it looks pretty. Alrighty. And there we go, our strawberry Bundt cake. Okay, time to eat dessert. Yeah! Again.
The house has been smelling so good. I just started making this.
Strawberries. Tastes like strawberries.
That's really good. Yeah.
This is a very tasty cake. Easy to put together. Couple steps.
Yeah. Not overbearing sweet. Overbearing, yeah.
It's always a crowd pleaser. Well, I hope you have enjoyed watching us make our strawberry Bundt cake as much as we have had making it for you. But more importantly, I hope you make it. Right? That's all I got to say.
Please like and subscribe. And check out cherryhillhomecooking.com.
Yay!
See you in the next video.
Ciao.
Bye.
It's so yummy.
The glaze is delicious too.